All right, joining us now, Republican Congresswoman Barbara Comstock. Congresswoman, the Washington Post has got you down by 13. What's the deal?
Well, that's their mail-in poll that we had talked about before, but here's how you know that's not true. We were in the field, our show, one up or tie, and the Democrats, Nancy Pelosi and Michael Bloomberg came in with $3.5 million last week, additional money in this race. You don't do it if you're up double digits. You don't spend that kind of money when there are other races that they want to win too. So, that's the good news is we are slightly ahead or tied. The bad news is they came in with lots of money. It's a green wave, not a blue wave. You've seen that, throughout our districts in Virginia as well as the country. And so I'd ask your listeners, Barbara Comstock for Congress.com, we still need money to push up against this green wave, but we have been out fighting all weekend. With this, with the tragedy on Saturday, we spent a lot of time in houses of worship over the weekend, and we all stand united against this anti-Semitic hate and this tragedy on Saturday, and we have a community that is exactly the opposite of what that man stood for, and we have a country that's exactly the opposite. Unfortunately, anti-Semitism is the oldest hatred out there, but we are going to battle back on this, and 8 days from now we're going to be winning this election.
Barbara, what did you think of your colleague Adam Schiff on Sunday going on national television and politicizing this horrible anti-Semitic hate crime on Saturday? All these people blown away, they were just worshiping and blaming it on Trump. When you saw that, just tell me what went through your mind.
I didn't. On Sunday morning, I was in church with my constituents, and so what I saw from them was, what I've described, people united, a community united, standing up against this, and certainly not wanting to politicize the murderous acts of a racist, anti-Semite. And that is, I think that's I think the Wall Street Journal called it a toxic habit of political blame, and I would agree. I think when we all agree, like we do here, to stand up against this, and our communities we should, as leaders, stand with our community with that sentiment, and I do.
That was just one of the most horrific things that I've ever seen. And Barbara, also, let me just ask you this. I mean, the guy posted all kinds of anti-Semitic stuff on social media, and then, he's got an AK-47. And is there a way that we can look into tightening up the availability of these for somebody that obviously, the law enforcement was looking at based on his social media post? Is there potential legislation or something that we might do in order to tighten this up?
Well, I have co-sponsored the red flag laws, and those have been passed in states, very different states, from California to Florida to Indiana, signed by a Republican governor in Indiana. But we can also help on the federal level with those, and that would allow people to intervene when they see a disturbing situation like this, but also, and there still would be due process. But I think we also, and this is something I've been highlighting over the years, is we do have to look at the social media more aggressively. We all have our First Amendment rights, and people can say whatever they want and put it out there. But law enforcement also can look at that and look at the data and see, that type of thing, and look and take action based on that too. So I think we do need to be more aware of these things, and people don't want their social media invaded, and I understand that, but when you put it out publicly, there's no reason that our law enforcement can't be searching and aware of that and tracking the type of things, just like they do all kinds of other public things because certainly the would-be bomber in Florida, he was well known to the police because he had been trying to do this, over a decade ago, making bomb threats, and he's obviously very mentally disturbed. So we do need to have more tools to evaluate all this publicly available information.
Well, I think we have to do something. I think that's certainly a sober approach to it. You're on the John Fredericks Radio Network. We're with Republican incumbent Congresswoman of the 10th District of Virginia, Barbara Comstock. She is in a tight race with Democratic State Senator from Loudoun County, Jennifer Wexton, her challenger. This will be decided on November 6th. Put that down, get out and vote and get involved. Barbara, if you don't mind, I'm going to run
bring friends. Don't just do it yourself. Bring friends, bring family, email your friends. This is how we win the close races.
I'm going to, if it's okay, I'm going to run a TV ad that you just put up, if I may.
If I see one more false negative ad from Jennifer Wexton, my head's going to explode.
Jennifer Wexton will make Nancy Pelosi speaker again.
They've promised to raise taxes on our families by up to $2,400.
And get rid of the $2,000 child tax credit. Wexton wants higher taxes on our homes, small businesses,
health plans, and more.
We can't afford Wexton and Pelosi.
But Barbara Comstock, she's an independent fighter for us.
I'm Barbara Comstock, and I approve this message.
Okay, so, Barbara, when you say that Wexton has a liberal record and she's going to raise your taxes, I mean, she can't really do that, right? Because the Senate's most likely going to stay in Republican hands. So isn't it just going to be a lot of noise? I mean, what could Wexton really do as far as harm the economy?
Well, she is a follower, not a leader. And I have been a leader on things like the $2,000 child tax credit that families now have that she is opposed. I mean, her whole campaign has been attacking me for supporting these tax cuts that have brought us this, the 3.5% growth that we just saw, 4.2 the quarter before, for an average of 3.3 now, which is well above the 1.9 average in the last 2 years of the Obama administration. And it will bring all of the, as you were highlighting earlier, it will bring this economy to a halt because tax cuts 2.0 and tax relief starts in the House. And if you have a House run by Nancy Pelosi, we know what happens. You have your taxes increased or you have stagnant, nothing happening. So what we're telling people, don't be Wexton, the taxes and the tolls that she has. Don't be Pelosi and don't be fooled again. We know what Nancy Pelosi comes up in the rearview mirror as we get closer to the election. People remember what she brought. Maxine Waters, if you're a banker and you are even considering voting for a Democrat House, think about Maxine Waters handling all of your banking needs. This is not a situation that you want. We have had banking reform, and in that case, even our senators voted for the banking reform. You would have never gotten that in a Nancy Pelosi-run House, and that has helped our small businesses, our community banks that were just under siege, and that's the kind of progress that will end because my opponent would make Nancy Pelosi Speaker. And there's just no question about it. There have been about 50 Democrats who have said they won't vote for Nancy Pelosi for Speaker. Jennifer Wexton is not one of them. And Nancy Pelosi coming in and saving her when this is a close race, we know what would happen there. And Nancy Pelosi would just be a disaster for this country. And this is, this is what we're here. As we hear, she's the most unpopular sort of prominent politician in this district. The people, the Democrats and the media often focus on the president, but it's Nancy Pelosi who is very unpopular because they've seen her policies already. So you look at Nancy Pelosi's policies when she was Speaker, and then you look at the great economy we have now. That's what we ask people to, look at the results you're seeing, the results versus resistance, and the results of putting that $2,000 child tax credit, into your pockets and being able to invest for your children, for college, for your homes, and for your small businesses. The reversal of all this would be a disaster.
You're on the John Fredericks Radio Network, Trucking the Truth Across America. We're with Barbara Comstock running for a third term in Congress, and she represents the 10th district. That's Northern Virginia. Her opponent, Jennifer Wexton, challenging her state senator, Loudoun County. That'll be decided November 6th. Congresswoman, 8,000 people, could be 10 by the time it gets into the United States, coming up through Mexico from South America. Democrats saying, let them in, be compassionate. All they want is jobs. They're economic refugees. They're fleeing violence. They're fleeing depravity. Let them in, give them whatever there needs to be. What is your position on this caravan?
Well, first of all, I support the President and Secretary Mattis sending troops to the border and saying that, we can, and telling them to turn back because this is a very dangerous thing for them to do. But also we have an orderly process where if you want to come to this country as a refugee, we have a process. But also the rules are when you're, say, leaving Honduras, you can be a refugee at the first country that you get when you get out of Honduras. So Mexico has indicated that they will take in refugees, that they will handle it. So this is a political, people are exploiting and organizing these people down there and from wherever else that they are. These people who are desperate and maybe motivated by political are really being put in danger in just being part of this caravan at all. And we need to, if you let this go on, there won't be an end to it. There'll be another 1,000 behind them, and it'll keep going. So we have to have an orderly process, and we do. If you want to be a citizen or if you want to be a refugee, there is a process for that. And, Mexico is taking in refugees, so we just can't allow this kind of lawlessness and encouraging it, wherever that encouragement is coming from, is dangerous and exploitive for the very people who are part of that caravan.
So what happens when they get to the border? Because the way it is now, let's just talk Turkey reality. There's conflicting laws. When they step over the border, they put a toe over. Here's what happens. Number one, they're illegal because they're here illegally, so they broke that law. However, there's other laws protecting them because if they put the other foot in now and they claim asylum, which now 65% of anybody coming here is now claiming asylum, then we can only hold them for 20 days. We give them a piece of paper, and they get released with a hearing in about 24 months. They just get released into the interior. That's catch and release. So, and we can't do anything to hold them. So what are the president's alternatives here?
Well, first of all, we do need to change some of these laws that are now being exploited. They're looking through these loopholes and trying to exploit them. And they're exploiting the laws, but they're also exploiting the people here involved. And that's why I think sending a force there to, make a strong statement, at least, there has been some indication that the numbers have dissipated some as we have made it clear that they are not going to be allowed in. And then we're going to have to, provide, whatever support we need. So, and I think Secretary Nielsen was on TV this weekend pointing out that they're going to take all the steps necessary that they have, in their toolbox, and then Congress needs to give them more. We still have weeks before they're going to reach the border, so if we need to deal with this after November 6th when we come back into session, we may need to provide some emergency tools also.
If you get reelected to Congress, are you going to vote in favor of the wall?
Well, when I get elected, I will do what I have already done, which is vote for it. And, people forget there was and I think Tim Kaine was on your radio show pointing it out last week, that the Senate had supported $40 billion for border security. Our bill that I voted on this year had $25 billion. But this is what the resistance now does. If the president is for it, they're against it, even when they've been for it in the past. So this is sort of the destructive policies of the resistance. We can't get things done. And I point out a lot of the bipartisan things the president has gotten done. And, we've talked about this. 82% of the bills on that scorecard that Jennifer Wexton attacked me for voting, saying voted with the president. Well, 82% of those are bipartisan. And, four of them, and I think now 5, are dealing with the opioid crisis. That I was at the White House last week for a bill signing, and there were Democrats there too. Patrick Kennedy, who works in the recovery movement now, was there with the president, but nobody in the press covers that we put $6 billion into battling this opioid crisis, and that we are taking this seriously on every front. And as everybody has come forward and asked for various things to be done on this, we are providing the resources and have come up with a lot of good strategies on this. And this mindless resistance movement that opposes everything hurts us on immigration, because we actually have a lot of common ground.
WJFN.
A DACA solution. I support it too. We have border security, DACA, and then reforming our immigration laws so that it's easier for people who want to come here legally to come. But we have a set of rules that everyone operates under.
All right, I'm out of time. I got to go. I want to thank Congresswoman Barbara Comstock for being with us. More information, go to barbaracomstock.com, barbaracomstock.com. Get involved on November 6th. Congresswoman, thanks for being with us.
Thank you.